Hey YouTube, Amanda here, and I'm here to talk to you about the new Psychic support kit that came out and what it can potentially mean for Psychic decks. First, we're going to cover what old support there was and what can potentially be put in this deck, and then I'm going to cover all the new support that came out and what it means. So, first we have Psychic Snail. This came out in the Duelist Genesis, a 1900 beat stick Psychic effect. You can pay 800 life points to select the Psychic monster you control, and it can attack twice during the same battle phase. And Psychic Snail cannot attack during the turn this card is activated. What this basically means is your monster becomes like a Hayabusa Knight, and it's a permanent effect. It's not once per turn, so that's pretty interesting. Although this card is a bit obsolete in comparison to some of the new beat sticks that are coming out, including Silent Psychic Wizard, which I'm going to get to after we finish this support. Next, we have Reinforced Human Psychic Board, which personally I love this card because it helps out a lot with the new Psychics, which have a lot of removal effects. It's a 1500 attack, Earth, and up to twice per turn you can remove and play one Psychic type monster and remove it from your graveyard to pump them up by 500, and it's permanent. So you can turn into a huge beater, and a lot of these cards are utilized by being removed. So I'm going to get to that in a second. Next, we have Psychic Jumper. It's a 2-star Earth. And once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points and select one face-up monster your opponent controls and one psychic type you control other than himself, and you swap them. So he's like a creature swap. It's pretty interesting because he's also a tuner, and you can use it to throw off your opponent because sometimes your opponent will have something like a shooting star on the field that you can bait out, and then you can swap it and take it. So that's pretty interesting. We also have Psychic Commander, 3-star Psychic Tuner Earth. When a psychic type monster you control battles, during this damage step, you can pay life points in multiples of 100, maximum 500, to decrease the opponent's monster by that amount until the end phase. So that's pretty cool. It also targets, so it's a way to get around Spirit Reaper. Then we have Pandawar, which is the Searcher. It's one of the only ones that aren't Earth. It's a water type, 4-star Psychic. Allows him to go in the air, actually. And when this card is destroyed by battle and sent to the graveyard, you can pay 800 life points to special summon one level 4 Psychic type monster from your deck. It's a bit restrictive because it's only level 4, not level 4 or lower, but it's 1700 attack, which means it's like a beat stick, and it can get out a majority of the cards you need, and it's a way to fuel the graveyard. Now we have Overdrive Teleporter, which I honestly don't like this build. If you're going to do Overdrive Teleporter, you have to commit to that card itself and change your build entirely. But you have to tribute for it. It can't be special summoned, and you can pay 2,000 life points to special summon 2 level 3 Psychic type monsters from your deck. This effect can only be used once while this card stays up on the field. So it's a pretty good card, but I don't personally like it in comparison to the new support that just came out. Then we have a Destructotron, which is a 4-star Earth Psychic effect. During the end phase, if this card is the only Psychic type monster on the field, destroy it that you control. You can pay 1,000 life points to destroy one face-up spell or trap. So there's a downside. It has to be face-up, so if someone has an oppression face-down, you target that. They can just chain with it. And you can destroy face-down spell or trap your opponent controls. It's not once per turn, so you can summon him and clear an entire back row at the cost of a lot of life points. But sometimes clearing 4 back rows is worth paying 4,000 life points, so why not? It's a really big potential plus, so I like the effect. Then we have Armored Axon Kicker. Psychic effect. If you control face-up Psychic type monster, you can normal summon him without tributing because he's a tribute monster. And if you can destroy his opponent's monster by battle, you take damage equal to half the monster's attack. And you can special summon one monster from your graveyard with an attack less than or equal to the damage you took. So it's a potential plus. It's also 6 stars, which means when it's in the graveyard, when it's removed from play and there's like a 3-star tuner like Psychic Commander removed from play, you can use the Psychic Field Zone card, which I'm going to get to in a second, new support card, to bring out your big monsters like the Overmight Archfiend, which we're going to talk about in a second. Then we have Genetic Woman. Once per turn, you can pay 1,000 life points to select one of your removed from play Psychic type monsters and add it to your hand. And this is essential in this deck because there is going to be a lot of cards being removed, and you're going to want to possibly put them back in your hand. So it's a way to plus back off of what you lost. Then we have Mind Master, 1-star tuner, amazing effect. You can pay 800 life points to tribute one Psychic type monster except Mind Master to special summon level 4 or lower Psychic type monster from your deck in face of attack position. Now this is really cool because a lot of the new effects for the monsters are mandatory effects that activate when they're sent to the graveyard, not just destroyed and sent to the graveyard, just sent to the graveyard in any way, shape, or form. So Mind Master is a good way of manipulating that and getting a card out of it. Now we have Krebins, and we all know what this does back in Teledad format. When this card is selected as an attack target, you can pay energy life points to negate the attack. And then we have Telekinetic Power Well. I love this card. Special summon any number of level 2 or lower psychic type monsters from your graveyard, and you take damage equal to the total levels of those monsters times 300. It's a really quick card. Quick play spell. Then we have Psychic Path. This is basically Gravekeeper's Spell for psychics. Pay 800 life points and select up to 2 of your remove from play psychic type monsters and add them to your hand. So that's a good way of plussing back off of what you potentially removed via Miracle Synchrofusion or the removal cards. Now we also have Miracle Synchrofusion, which allows you to go into Armored Axon Kicker, which is a really amazing card, which I'll get to in a second. Then we have Emergency Teleport, of course, no explanation needed. Gets your level 3 or lower psychic types from your deck to the field. Instant Fusion, a potential card that you can play if you want to in order to go into easy synchroing. Mind Over Matter. This is basically your Polygnosis. If you don't know what Polygnosis is, you tribute a psychic type monster to negate the activation of a spell or trap card or normal or special summon of a monster and destroy that card. So it's basically Solemn Judgment at the cost of tributing a psychic type monster. But again, this is very exploitable because a lot of the effects with the new monsters are achieved through being sent to the graveyard in any way, shape, or form, including costs or being used as synchro material. Then we have Psychic Overload, which honestly, I don't like this card in what this deck is supposed to be doing, because you have to select 3 psychic type monsters in your graveyard, return them to the deck to draw 2 cards. That means that you have to take what you need out of the graveyard to put back in your deck. So you're kind of working backwards in a sense because you need your graveyard set up. So I don't really like it, but it's again a psychic draw power card, so it has potential use. Then there's Psychic Trigger, which is a bit more viable for draw power. Activate only when your life points are lower than your opponent's, which they almost always are because you're paying life points to activate effects. Select 2 psychic type monsters in your graveyard, remove them from play, and draw 2 cards. So it helps achieve getting those RFPs, and you get cards out of it. So it's really cool. It's a trap card though. Return from a different dimension, of course, because there's going to be a lot of removing, and it's a good way to OTK. Little downside is we're in a meta where there's Trap Stun and Solemn Warning and some Tools of the Bandit, so paying half your life points is pretty hefty. Then we have Hyper Psychic Blaster. We're moving on to synchros now. One tuner plus 1 or more non-tuner psychic type monsters. During battle between this attacking card and a defense position monster, if the defense is lower than the attack of this card, inflict the difference as battle damage to your opponent. If it attacks a defense position monster whose defense is lower than the attack of this card, gain life points equal to the difference at the end of the damage step. This is important because you do want to recover a lot of life points. You're going to be paying a lot of costs, and it's pretty important to achieve. Same thing with Thought Ruler, Arcfiend, and Magical Android. Then we have also Psychic Light Transfer, which is all your synchros, and it's important to go into Psychic type synchro monsters because we're going to be going into Miracle Synchrofusion to get your Ultimate Axon Kickers out. Then we have Ultimate Axon Kicker. I'm going to get into it itself. If you don't know what it does, the monster can only be special summoned by Fusion Summon with above material, so you can use Miracle Synchrofusion, and it cannot be destroyed by card effects at all. No card effects can destroy it. 2900 beat sticks, so it can't get run or can't be destroyed. During battle between a defense position monster, it inflicted battle damage equal to the difference, so it's a piercer. And when this card destroys an opponent monster by battle and sends it to the graveyard, you can gain life points equal to the destroy monster's attack, which again, you're paying a lot of life points, so you want to gain them back. This is really good to double up with Forbidden Lance for anything that does remove it from play instead, like Dimensional Prison, etc. But it's a very good card and compulsory. And that's pretty much it for the old support. Now we're going to move on to the new stuff. We have Hushed Psychic Cleric. When this card is normal or flip summon, it's changed to defense position. It has 2100 defense, so it's really big, and it's 4 stars. Once per turn, by sending 1 card from your hand to the graveyard, select 1 psychic type monster in your graveyard and remove it from play. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, select 1 monster removed from play by this card's effect and special summon it. It works kind of like a Zombie Master, so if you have an already existing target in the graveyard, you can discard your cost and select the same cost that you paid and remove it from play. It's also a good target for Mind Over Matter, again, because it's a mandatory effect, the last part, when it's sent from the field to the graveyard as a cost, or as a synchro material monster, or being destroyed, etc. And it's also a target for Mind Master, again, because it's a mandatory effect. Then we have Esper Girl, Earth 2-star tuner. When this remove from play card is special summoned, remove from play the top card of your deck. And when she's sent to the field to the graveyard, add the remove card from to hand. So again, when she's special summoned and you synchro with her, and then you get a free card out of it. So it's pretty cool, and it's another mandatory effect that can be manipulated with Mind Master or synchro summoning material. Then there's Silent Psychic Wizard, which is the star of this deck, and this is why the deck is so good. 1900 beat stick, 4-star Earth. And notice a lot of these are Earth, so you can go into Barkion and Beast easily. When this card is normal summoned, you can remove from play one Psychic type monster in your graveyard and remove it from play. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, special summon that monster. Again, another target for Mind Master or Synchro material. So that's really cool. Then we have Psybeast, 2-star Earth. When it's normal summoned, you can remove from play one Psychic monster from your deck, and this card's level becomes the level of that monster. That's pretty interesting to have because you do need to get stuff removed from play often, along with the effects of Reinforced Human Psychic Board and other stuff. It also allows you to tech in Junk Synchron if you want to, because it's a 2-star target, so you can go into an easy Android. And then have targets for the Miracle Synchro Fusion plays. Then we have Serene Psychic Witch. Here's a few ways to explain how the deck works. First, we have Serene Psychic Witch. She basically gets a card from the deck, removes it from play, brings it back from the second standby phase. She gets destroyed by battle, by card effect, whatever. You go into your deck, and you grab an Esper Girl. Now, this usually will happen on your opponent's turn, hopefully, which means when you draw on your standby phase, Esper Girl will hit the field. You'll remove the top card of your deck, and when she leaves the field, you get that card removed back, which means when you synchro with her, you're not potentially minusing yourself. So you can use a Psychic from your hand, a non-tuner, synchro with her, and then get the card that you removed back to your hand. So that's one way to show that the deck, can synchro without losing card economy. So that's a really cool combo with Esper Girl and Serene Psychic Witch. That is one of the main plays of the deck that the deck is capable of doing. Then there's Psychic Field Zone, which is another thing that makes this deck really amazing. Select one remove from play Psychic Tuner and one remove from play non-tuner Psychic monster. Return them to the graveyard and special summon one Psychic type Synchro monster from your extra deck whose level equals the combined numbers in face of defense. Now this means you don't have to meet the material requirements for that monster. So if it's Overmind Archfiend, which requires one Psychic Tuner and 2 or more non-tuner Psychic type monsters, it doesn't matter because it's like Vayu basically. It's special summoning the monster, not synchro summoning it. So it's not coming out successfully and properly under the proper conditions. But that means you can use Armored Axon Kicker and a Psychic Commander that are removed from play to return to the graveyard and bring out an Overmind Archfiend, which is a really good card I'm going to get to in a second. So this is one of the main ways to synchro as well for free. And Overmind Archfiend's effect is once per turn, you can select one Psychic in your graveyard and remove it from play. When this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, which again is a manipulatable effect because it's mandatory, so you basically can use Mind Master or Mind Over Matter again to manipulate this effect. Special summon as many monsters that were removed from play that buy this effect, so it basically returned from a different dimension to them. So this is the support that came out, the main stuff, main things to look out for. I see the potential in this deck. There's a lot of really cool things, so go ahead and link me your builds. You can send them as video responses. Make sure your videos are appropriate, and I will approve them so that people can take a look at the builds you came up with from this set. Alright, today's code is DDG Psychics, since we covered Psychics today, and that will give you 5% off of all singles on the core TCG website. Any questions or comments, leave them to me. Take care, guys.